Pre-raid gearing in WoW Classic is one of those tedious things players have to do before finally being able to take on endgame raiding. Farming for dungeon loot has always been a grind, and when it comes to TBC, pre-raid gearing gets somewhat of an upgrade with the added feature Heroic Dungeons, meaning tougher enemies and more mechanics, but rewarding players with level 70 loot that sets them up for raids like Karazhan, Gral's Lair, and taking on the imprisoned demon pit lord Magtheridon. In this video we are going over these iconic heroic dungeons, including the reputation requirements in order to unlock them, and some of the top pieces of loot that drop for pre-raid best in slot. Let's get into it. Starting off, in order to run any heroic dungeon in the Burning Crusade, you need to do some prerequisites. First, you need to obviously hit level 70, then you need to reach revered reputation with the faction tied to that specific dungeon hub by grinding normal versions of the dungeon or doing quests in that faction zone. Lastly, you need to buy the heroic key from the corresponding quartermaster, which each key costs 10 gold. Here's a quick breakdown of each dungeon hub and its corresponding faction. The Shattered Halls in the Arcatraz have some additional requirements before you can enter them. To start the quest chain for Shattered Halls, you have to kill Smith Gorlunk in Shadowmoon Valley, looting the primed key mold from him. Something to note is that a rogue with max level lockpicking can unlock the gate for their dungeon group. For the Arcatraz, players need to accept Consortium Crystal Collection in Area 52, which hopefully you started while questing in Netherstorm. Also, players will need to have flying mounts to gain access to Tempest Keep dungeons. Now, TBC heroics are no joke. Trash mobs hit hard, bosses have upgraded mechanics, and wipes are common without CC, interrupts, or even solid healing. For example, in the Shattered Halls, one of the toughest heroics, trash mobs hit like a truck, and Kargath Bladefist Blade Dance can shred unprepared groups. In Sethic Halls, Talon King Icus does a massive AoE. Anyone not hiding behind one of the 4 pillars will get nuked and most likely wipe your group. Blackheart in the Shadow Labyrinth mind controls all players in your group with Incite Chaos, causing them to attack each other, which can easily cause wipes. When it comes to the Arcatraz, the boss Zarakith regularly casts Void Zones under players. These must be moved out of immediately, or they will deal massive ticking shadow damage, melting anyone left standing in one. The last boss in the Arcatraz, Skyrus, mind flays a random target, stunning them and doing damage over the course of a few seconds, which can wipe a group if your healer isn't paying attention. These are just a few examples of some of the difficulties players will face in heroic dungeons. Now, when it comes to loot, not only do heroics drop some of the best pre-raid gear, bosses also drop badges of justice. These badges can be turned in for epic quality gear from vendors and Shatrath. One thing to note, some pre-raid BiS items drop in both normal and heroic versions of the same dungeon. So if you're grinding rep on normal, keep an eye out for those key pieces. Also, if you played during Vanilla WoW and cleared Naxxramas, you might already have some powerful gear that holds up well. A few Nax items stay relevant until players gain access to Karazhan, making the pre-raid grind a bit easier for returning veterans. Let's break down some of these iconic pieces of heroic loot by role. First up, we have tanks. For weapons, we have the Sun Eater. This drops from Pathalion the Calculator in Heroic Mechanar, and this is one of the best early tank swords and a top tier choice for protection warriors and paladins entering Karazhan. We also have Latro's Shifting Sword. Drops in normal and heroic Black Morass. This weapon with its fast attack speed is excellent for prot warriors looking to dish out some extra threat. Now, tanks have 4 tank trinkets that drop throughout dungeons. We have Argusian Compass. This pre-raid trinket drops from Black Stalker and the Underbog and is a great mitigation trinket that provides 36 stamina. We also have Adamantine Figurine. This trinket drops from Blackheart in Shadow Labyrinth, another great option, however it does not have any stamina. It makes up with an on-use cooldown, providing 1280 armor for 20 seconds. Next up, we have Icon of Unyielding Courage, drops from Keladin the Breaker and the Blood Furnace. This is a great optional trinket for prot warriors as well as feral druids who are taking up the tank role for your raid. Now, the 4th trinket, Figurine of the Colossus. This trinket drops from War Chief Kargath Bladefist in Shattered Halls and is an excellent avoidance option for prot paladins looking to round out their gear stats. Now, we have some other good pieces of loot for tanks. We have Devil Shark Cape. This drops from Warlord Kelethrush in the Steam Vault. It's a solid tanking cape that will last well into Phase 1. We also have Girdle of the Immovable. This drops from Quagmiran and the Slave Pins and also adds some nice defensive stats as well as shield block. It's one of the only pre-raid BiS belts for tanks that drop from a dungeon. Most of the others come from quests or farming honor in battlegrounds. Next we have Eagle Crest War Boots. These boots drop from Paladin and are a solid choice for prop paladins and warriors. Just like Girdle of the Immovable, it is one of the only tank boots to actually drop from a boss from Heroics. We then have Time Warden's Leggings. These are the best mitigation legs which you can get after getting revered with the Keepers of Time. These leggings are the choice for tanks looking to add some mitigation into their stats, and you can buy it from the Keepers of Time Quartermaster. Another great option is Vanquisher's Leg Plates, which drops from Pathalion, and these provide the best threat generation. Now moving on to melee DPS weapons, we have Edge of the Cosmos, which is an excellent main hand weapon for combat sword rogues. Now here we have Latro Shifting Sword again. Not only is this rare sword great for prot warriors like I stated earlier, but it's also a great option for combat rogues and fury warriors. We have Blackout Truncheon. This one-hand mace drops from normal in a heroic Shadow Labyrinth. For those not looking to spend too much time on arena weapons or farming BoE world drops, this weapon provides an excellent on-hit haste proc for either rogues or warriors. For my ret paladins or those looking to play arms warriors, we have Quantum Blade, which drops from a Jonas in heroic Black Morass. Moving on to trinkets, we have Bloodlust Brooch, which costs 41 badges of justice. We also have Hourglass of the Unraveler. This drops from Temperance in normal Black Morass. These two trinkets are some of the best pre-raid BiS for melee DPS, which gives a significant DPS boost in raids. Now, moving on to item sets, we have Wastewalker Helm, which drops from Epoch Hunter and Old Hillsbred Foothills, and Wastewalker Shoulders, which drops from Avatar of the Martyred and Akanai Crypts. These two leather items are solid helm and shoulder slots. Since rogues, warriors, and even enhancement shamans can test these pre-raid items, many players will be seeking them. If you can manage to get both, it gives you the added 35 hit rating from its 2-set bonus. We also have the Doomplate set, which is an excellent choice for ret paladins and fury warriors. However, this is second BiS in comparison to Wastewalker, since the Wastewalker set has better stats for fury warriors. Now for some off pieces, we have Boots of the Unjust. These leather attack power hit boots also drop from Avatar on the Crypts. Most rogues and warriors will be seeking fell leather boots made from leatherworking due to having sockets, but these are another great option for those looking for drops in dungeons. For jewelry, we have Choker of Vile Intent. This epic necklace costs 25 badges and is BiS for rogues, warriors, and enhanced shamans. We also have Ring of Arathi Warlords, which also costs 25 badges and is a BiS item for warriors. Now for casters, most one-hand weapons, especially for pre-raid BiS, outclass staves. Even Atiesh, which is still a good option, doesn't compare to a one-hand weapon with their off-hand counterparts. We have Great Sword of Horrid Dreams. This one-hand sword drops from Murmur in Shadow Labyrinth and gives a significant amount of hit rating for casters. We also have Starlight Dagger, another solid item for casters, which drops from Menu the Betrayer in Slave Pins. For those struggling to pick up a one-hand weapon and offhand, this staff is a great option that drops from Warp Splinter in the Botanica. For caster trinkets, we have Quagmire's Eye, just like the name says, drops from Quagmire in the Slave Pins. We also have Shafar's Nexus Horn, another great trinket that drops from Harbinger Skyrus in the Arcatraz. Now for caster item sets, we have Oblivion Raiment for warlocks, Incanter's Regalia for mages, and Mana Etched Regalia for Ellie shamans. 3 very powerful item sets for casters looking to get their hands on some TBC gear that provides pre-raid set bonuses. One thing to note is a lot of this caster gear from all 3 sets can be worn by all casters due to the powerful raw stats on the items. For jewelry, we have Brooch of Heightened Potential, drops from Blackheart and Shadow Labs, and Hydra Fang Necklace, drops from Gazrin in Heroic Underbog. Both of these necklaces are solid choices for casters. Moving on to rings, we have Sparkling Arcanite Band from the Epoch Hunter and Old Hillsbred Foothills, and Cobalt Band from Tiragosa from the Nexus Prince and Heroic Humanitombs. For rings, a lot of the caster rings from vanilla Naxxramas are still fairly good. Sparkling Arcanite Band and Cobalt Band are 2 of the few dungeon drops that players can replace their Naxxramas rings with if they choose to do so. For healer weapons, we have Shockwave Truncheon from Murmur in Heroic Shadow Labs. We have Hammer of the Penitent from Mechanolord Capacitus in the Mechanar, and Lightsworn Hammer from Warchief Kargith in Shattered Halls. These items are some of the best healer weapons during the beginning of TBC, all three providing powerful healing stats and mana regen that will give you a solid raiding start into Karazhan. For trinkets, we have Essence of the Martyr. This healing trinket costs 41 badges of justice and surprisingly is one of the only trinkets players will need to get in the beginning of TBC, since Eye of the Dead, which drops from Sephiron and Naxxramas, is still second pre-raid BiS. For healer item sets, we have Hallowed set for priests and Moonglade set for druids. These two item sets both provide strong item set bonuses to healer priests and druids. For holy paladins, however, they can still equip these items for the raw stats, yet paladins mainly focus on getting items from tailoring and leatherworking due to stronger raw stats from crafted items. Now for my hunter and enhancement shamans, which I did not forget, we have Wrathtide Bow, which drops from Kelethresh and Steambolt and is a solid ranged weapon for hunters not looking to grind arena for the gladiator bow. We also have the Beast Lord set, hunter's go-to item set that provides a 4 set bonus ignoring 600 of your target's armor after using your kill command. The items from this set drop across Heroic Dungeons, Shattered Halls, the Mechanar, Botanica, and Steambolt. For enhancement shaman weapons, we have the Blade Fist from Kargith in Shattered Halls, and the Harvester of Souls from Maladar in Arcanine Crypts. Both of these weapons are solid Heroic Dungeon drops for enhancement shamans. Now for offhands for elemental shamans, we have Mazdoral Honor Shield, 33 badges of justice, and Khadgar's Knapsack, which is 25 badges of justice. We also have Lamp of Peaceful Radiance, a great shield drop from Skyrus and the Arcatraz until players can get enough badges for Mazdoral or the Knapsack. When it comes to totems for shamans, for elemental we have Totem of the Void, which drops from the Cache in the Mechanar. For enhancement we have Totem of the Astral Winds from Pandemonius in Manitombs, and for restoration we have Totem of Spontaneous Regrowth from Menu the Betrayer in the Slave Pens. Moving on, we have Feral Druids. They share a lot of leather gear with rogues, like the Wastewalker set for example. When it comes to tank specs, most druids will be looking toward crafted leather gear, trying to get as much stamina as they can. As for some key dungeon loot pieces, we have Feral Staff of Lashing from Warp Splinter and Botanica, an excellent staff for both tank and DPS specs. For idols, we have Idol of Feral Shadows, which drops from Zaraketh and the Arcatraz. This is great for ferals. However, for tanks, Idol of Brutality from Vanilla Strathholm is still a strong idol lasting well into the beginning of TBC. For Paladin Librams, we have Libram of the Lightbringer from Commander Seranus in the Botanica for Holy Paladins. We also have Libram of Light from Noth in Naxxramas, which is still the recommended BiS since it buffs Flash of Light rather than Holy Light. For prop paladins, we have Libram of Repentance, which is 15 badges of justice and adds 42 shield block while Holy Shield is active. For my rep friends, we have Libram of Avengement, allowing judgments to increase critical strike chance. So to recap, grind the right rep, buy the keys, start running heroics, and get your pre-raid BiS gear. Stack those badges up so you can save up and buy powerful vendor upgrades. Overall, heroics are your gateway to Karazhan and early raiding success, and they reward players who put in the work. Tell me in the comments what your most favorite dungeon was, or even any you disliked. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like and subscribe for more classic WoW content. Good luck out there, and I will see you in Outland.
You are not prepared.
Come back here.
Just bring the rack.
Here we go, right here.
Bring them to rack.
Heal me, heal me, heal me.
Oh.